they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
Yes.
Yo, this man is funny.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Amadaya Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Amadaya Shakur, and this is your daily vitamin. So, as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay. Jacqueline said, "Hello, Queen. I was just wondering if the story about the dirty street wearing people, did they really come to DeKalb County, walked in, carried out? I don't know what you're talking about. What happened in DeKalb County, beloved? I don't live there. Hadn't heard a thing about it. I'll have to look into it. Okay, so hello, Mel, Most Hated Bronze Flat Power God, We the People, Anita Harrell, Claudette, Anthony Ray is here, Ladybug. All right, let's get into it. Everybody hit that like button. Thank you so kindly. All right, Nubia Raw. With that all being said, let's get ready for these updates, okay? They should be coming back from the break really soon. Okay? So with that all being said, let me see what's going on here. Let me see here. Hold on. All right. Let me go to CNN and see if they're back in the courtroom. Okay, so just so you all know, they're not back from lunch yet. Okay, so they're still at break. All right, so just give them a few more minutes. So don't forget that Cassie's mother's supposed to testify. Also, this is Kerry Morgan, Cassie's best friend, who was on the stand before the break. She's going to be returning to the stand. And also, don't forget that I told you all that Capricorn Clark may be called to testify. She was Diddy's assistant, and Diddy put hands on her also, supposedly. Okay, and then let us not forget about the people that are supposed to have been aiding and assisting Diddy. Okay, will they be called? What's going to happen with that? I'm anxious to see. Okay, so we'll give everybody a minute or two to get back in here before I start with these couple of videos I want to show. And while we're waiting, let's have some intermission music. Hold on. Where is it? Here we go.
Light shining down in the moonlight, but can't help but feel this connection flow with every move. Go along the floor where you smile. Makes me want more. Heartbeat and sing at the sound of soul. Tonight we dance, just lose control. I can't resist. The way you move is doing this. Your eyes gazing like the stars above. This night is ours, wrapped in our love. The badness thing, our melody sweet, can't help but feel the rhythm in my feet, even my head. Like the earth is spinning, our love to dance where we both live. You got that groove. Let's do this.
All right. Now listen, they're still not back in the courtroom, but guess what I just found, you guys? I'm really interested in hearing this because Piers Morgan, about 11 minutes ago or so, is talking about it's not a strong case. Lawyer says Diddy will walk, plus a Tony Busby interview. Okay, let's just get into this while we wait for the details. Okay, while we wait for the details and while we wait for Kerry Morgan, a very good witness, to finish her testimony and also to be examined, cross-examined by the defense. Let's get into it. I'm going to pull this up on the screen, honey. I'm going to have to use an overlay because Pierce did not tell me that I could use his interview footage. But I want to hear why this lawyer thinks that Diddy's going to walk. Okay? I want to hear this. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, y'all see that? Let me put up an overlay real quick. Let me see here. No, that won't work. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so let's get into this and see what's going on here. Okay, what exactly are they talking about? Nicole said lunch is over. Honey, that was the quickest break. Okay, that was the quickest break. All right. At the end of the day, I didn't even get to eat a bite. All right. Hey, Jonah, I didn't get to eat a darn thing. All I had time to do was make me a spot of tea. Thank you, Nicole. Nicole said, support the queen and hit the like. Thank you, beloved. Ladybug said, not the raccoon. Hey, it's an overlay. I think I'm gonna leave that one on there. Let's listen to it.
To me is this idea of this mythical creature that can take ketamine and MDA and booze and then have sex for dozens of days on end. Because what you're talking about now is an allegation that this, and I'm going to use its Mandingo stereotype of this crazed black man who's being prosecuted by 5 white women who are saying this man's sexual needs are insatiable.
The sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs is back underway in Manhattan today, with pop star Dawn Richard returning to the stand. The Danity Kane singer testified that when Diddy did not get his way, quotes, people could go missing, close quotes. She also told the court that she personally saw Diddy drag, kick and punch his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Well, much of the evidence so far has been damning, as prosecutors build their case that he was the kingpin in a criminal enterprise responsible for sex trafficking and racketeering. But despite that, some people believe the drastic nature of the charges could mean that Diddy will sensationally walk free. In a moment, I'll talk to Matthew Fletcher, the former lawyer of Suge Knight, and Ben Chew, who successfully represented Johnny Depp. But we begin with a man who finds himself at the center of the Diddy scandal. Lawyer Tony Busby filed multiple lawsuits on behalf of alleged Diddy victims, but has recently been hit with an extortion suit by Jay-Z and accused of, quotes, targeting black men, close quotes. Well, he joins me now. Tony Busby, thank you very much for coming back to Uncensored. A lot has happened since you last appeared on this show. Let's start, first of all, with the fact that when we last spoke, you said you were representing 120 further alleged victims of Sean Diddy Combs in civil suits spanning 20 years with victims as young as 9, 14 and 15. Now, in March, you announced you were dropping 15 of these cases after Diddy's attorneys argued.
Wait a minute. Is it just me? Or does Tony Busby look like 10 years younger? What did he do to his face? Do y'all see how smooth his face is? What the hell did he do to his face? Did he go get a facelift? Lana said he's racist. He might be, honey, because it looks like he only goes after black men for these lawsuits. But look how smooth his face is looking. Tony Busby, what have you been up to? Did he take some of that money from one of those lawsuits and go get a whole facelift? DJ Big Six said he had a facial. Chris said it's Botox. HFG said a filter. Oh, that is what it is. That's a filter. Tony Busby, you need to sit down. Okay, not a filter. It's exactly what it is. I'm going to turn my mic off because they're out there doing the landscaping, you guys. Hopefully they'll be done soon. This is all nefarious. Busby with a whole filter. Really, Busby? Come on. Just anticipate that he does look different. G from the land said he got his face pulled back. OG Patrice said, Queen, so I'm hearing Usher may testify as a witness to Cassie's abuse from Diddy. I don't believe that. I don't believe that one, beloved. I'll believe it when I see it. So far, my friend told me that they've mentioned Capricorn Clark, whom I already told you all that her boyfriend said she was supposed to testify, or her ex. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Her ex, somebody who dated her. I think his name is Cassius Lewis. But anyway, and then also they mentioned Roger Bond, not saying that he was going to testify, but when Dawn Richard was talking about bodyguards that were there when Diddy was abusing Cassie, she mentioned Roger Bond and D-Rock. D-Rock, if you all remember, I told you guys on yesterday some of the people that were alleged to have been Diddy's co-conspirators, whose names will likely be mentioned. Neil Dominique, that's one. She also told me that, or he also told me that they mentioned not Neil Dominic, Harv Pierre. Okay, they mentioned Harv Pierre, but that was Neil Dominic right there. Said that was one of the people that assisted Diddy with nefariousness, allegedly. C. Gutta, I told you all this all on yesterday. These are alleged co-conspirators. Christina Coram, aka KK, and D-Rock. Why is he all up on Diddy's back like that? That just looks a little zesty to me. Why is he all up on that man's back like that? Make it all make sense, okay? And then here's Capricorn Clark, Lauren London's sister. She's supposed to testify against Diddy. All right, but so in the meantime, Let's see what Piers Morgan is talking about. We put the raccoon back in its place.
Argued you weren't authorized to practice in the Southern District of New York. So just explain, before we go any further, explain what's happened there.
Yeah, typically when you're a licensed lawyer in New York and you're accepted in one of the federal districts, it's by reciprocity, you're accepted in the others. Well, they challenged that. And so they filed grievances against me and basically attacking my ability to practice in the Southern District of New York. And that is being sorted out. And while it's being sorted out, I withdrew from about 12 to 15 cases, but still represent those people. Those cases are still ongoing, still being represented by my firm and our local New York counsel. So I would call that a sideshow, much ado about nothing, and we're working through it.
You've had a lot of time, obviously, since we last spoke to really, I guess, go over all the individual stories of the 120, as it was then, alleged victims. Have you now narrowed down that number to cases that you believe are incontrovertible? Are they all, in your estimation, incontrovertible? What's the sort of credibility looking like with each of these cases now?
I'll tell you where we are now. We have 40 cases that are filed. We have 60 to 70 that will be filed in other jurisdictions. Remember, we were trying to make the limitations period that existed in the state of New York. So the rest of the cases that will be filed in other states, primarily in California. But the number's about still the same. Some people, because of these various sideshows and controversy, have dropped out, but still around 100 people who alleged that Diddy assaulted them in some way. And as I've been receiving reports on this trial as it goes forward, one thing that has struck me is that the evidence and the factual circumstances are very consistent with what these plaintiffs have alleged. So we've been watching this criminal trial very closely, as you might imagine, and have watched this go forward, and it's striking to me, the allegations that are being made and some of the testimony that came out with Cassie and some of the testimony coming out today, very consistent with what these plaintiffs in the civil cases have been alleging.
And what is the sort of modus operandi consistent pattern that you're seeing?
What I'm seeing is there's obviously a lot of violence involved, a lot of threats involved. Some of these counts, specifically transportation to engage in prostitution, that keeps coming out over and over. But also the implicit and then actually explicit threats that are made towards individuals after this conduct ends. You won't say anything, you won't do anything about this. I mean, that has jumped out at me. I've also been watching the commentators. People have been seizing upon this word and that word and saying, oh, look here, that proves that there was no coercion because Cassie, allegedly voluntarily participated in this activity. And I think one of the things that hasn't come out and hasn't been discussed that I think needs to be discussed is this idea of trauma bonding. When someone is in a long-term relationship and they have been allegedly abused, people have a hard time wrapping their head around the fact that why would they continue in the relationship? Why would they go back? And that's classic trauma bonding. There's other names for it. When people are kidnapped, you've heard about Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
Look on dollar.com to get our lowest rates. Why are you in my...
The best way to attract
about battered wives syndrome. What I have seen, we had somebody there during the opening statements, and of course we've been receiving real-time updates every day of the testimony, and that has jumped out at me time and time again, is that this idea of trauma bonding and these commentators who have seized upon certain snippets of text and so forth, where they talk about, well, look, Cassie was voluntarily participating in this. I don't see it that way, and I'm not sure the jury will see it that way either.
Here's the thing. That to me really doesn't matter. What matters is whether or not the jury believes Cassie's testimony, because Cassie was caught telling lies on the stand a couple of times, and that's the problem. That's what they should be concerned about with the jury, whether or not they were trauma bonding or whatever. The bottom line is Cassie told some inconsistencies. She changed her story, and so did Don Richard. Now that's my concern as far as the jury. As far as the jury, how are they viewing these things? What are they saying? Because my friend keeps telling me that when these things are being pointed out as people being inconsistent or changing their stories, the jurors are shaking their heads in disapproval. Okay, so that's my concern.
The other thing that's happened with you personally since we spoke is that in February, you withdrew a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z, which alleged the rape of a 13-year-old girl in 2000. The anonymous plaintiff, referred to as a Jane Doe, voluntarily withdrew the case, the court records show. Now, in that lawsuit, she'd initially alleged that she'd been offered a ride to a party at a private residence by a limo driver for Combs following the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000. Now, as a result of those claims, Jay-Z came out fighting. He filed a lawsuit against you personally. He said that you and the Jane.
Now, why is Pierce asking Busby about this? Because he knows Busby better not say too much. Jay-Z has a current lawsuit pending against him. I bet you Busby's not going to really want to answer that if he knows what's good for him anyway.
Though the accuser was soullessly motivated by greed, in abject disregard of the truth and the most fundamental precepts of human decency. The filing claimed the woman voluntarily admitted to Jay-Z's representative that he did not assault her, and that you, Tony Busby, had pushed her to go forward with a false narrative of the assault by Mr. Carter, Jay-Z, in order to leverage a maximum payday. And he went on to say this further about you. Busby directed his employees to edit Wikipedia pages to enhance Busby's image and damage Mr. Carter's and Rock Nation's reputations. What is your response to all this?
You said a great mouthful. That's almost every line you stated is false, and all that will be sorted out. And it's all in litigation, as you probably know. I mean, this whole situation with Jay-Z started with him suing me as a John Doe in California, simply because we sent him a letter stating that these are the allegations. We want to sit down and have a talk. And the reaction was thermonuclear. I mean, it was suing me, ultimately suing her, suing my local council in New York, and on and on. And all of that will be sorted out in the courts, and I feel confident about all of that. But again, that's a sideshow to what's going on here. What's really going on is we have 20 years of conduct. You know, when we first came out and said, you know, there's this many people who have called, there's this many people who alleged to be victimized by Sean Diddy Combs, people, you know, raised their eyebrows and said, how is that possible? How could there possibly be that many alleged victims? Well, now I think what we've seen over the last week or so of testimony is that this conduct that's been alleged was happening almost on a daily basis, certainly on a weekly basis. And so it's not surprising or shocking at all that there would be people who would claim to be victimized by this sort of conduct based on the frequency of it.
But do you accept, though, that in Jay-Z's case, the allegations against him from that particular accuser were false?
I think you should talk to or hear what the alleged victim says. And I think I will, you know, I'm a lawyer. Let's be clear. You know, people come to me. I don't go out and look for clients. I don't need to look for clients. And people come to me and they tell me a situation. I have people vet it, have other people vet it. We file a case, and the whole purpose of the court system is to sort those things out and to determine whether the individual, what they say is true, just like what is going on in this criminal case. So I'm confident that the courts will sort that out. And rather than attempting to try the case in the public like has been done, I'll be confident to try it in the courts.
So just to be clear on that, are you saying that that case is still active, that those claims against Jay-Z remain active?
I'm saying that the alleged victim has never recanted and continues to say the same thing she said from the day that she called the lawyer that called me. Let's remember, she contacted a different lawyer who vetted her and then sent her to me, and then my office vetted her. So this is not a situation that's been portrayed that we went out and found somebody so we could sue Jay-Z. That's so far from the truth that it's almost laughable. But as just as late as the latest court filing from Jay-Z, he acknowledges that this alleged victim continues to say the same thing she said from the beginning.
I'm not not trying to be funny, but Busby knows darn well little Miss Jane Doe was lying through her teeth. We already caught her on audio. Please pay attention. Okay, please pay attention. Now let's go to the next segment.
Ingredients: reishi, apigenin, L-theanine, melatonin. Two schools of thought. In fact, we have some eminent attorneys joining us who disagree about what's going to happen here. And I guess it's going to come down to what a jury thinks of how much of this was consensual or how much was non-consensual or indeed stroke coercive. And a lot of may rest, of course, on Cassie Ventura's testimony. How do you think she did? Obviously, she's heavily pregnant, which must have made it a very difficult experience for her. But how much of her testimony do you think, if you're a juror listening to all this, what are the sort of very persuasive parts of what she said, and what are the parts that may give you pause for thought?
Well, you know, one of the things I want to point out is none of us, maybe your commentators were, but I certainly wasn't in the courtroom to hear what she had to say. You know, this is a situation in the federal court where they do not allow cameras, so we can't see her testimony and see her body language and hear her tone of voice and that sort of thing. So what we have is commentators who seize on certain things she said, certain things she fails to say, and then try to make a mountain out of it. Let's remember that in a lawsuit, you know, you don't win a case based on one witness or one piece of evidence. Typically, you're building a wall, and one of the things they teach you in law school is a brick is not a wall. Cassie Ventura's testimony is one brick in what I expect to be a very long trial with a lot of bricks attempting to build a wall. People have seized on some of the comments and texts that she sent where she seemed to be voluntarily participating in some of these so-called freak-offs. I would suggest, if I were the prosecutor, that this is classic trauma bonding, that she is trying to please the individual with whom she's in a relationship. And I would not place a lot of stock in the fact that that was not coerced simply because she was acting like she wanted to do it. Now, I didn't sit there and hear the testimony. So that's going to have to be decided by 12 people. And, you know, I made a living over 30 years. I win a lot of cases because I put a lot of faith in the jury. And I try to put the bad evidence and the good evidence and explain why the bad evidence doesn't keep me from winning the case. And I think that's, you know, I know you're going to have commentators who have different points of view, but I think the prosecution is doing the job that it does. And let's remember, we're talking about the federal government. Typically, the federal government does not bring a case unless it has a lock solid case. And I'm assuming that the prosecutors knew the weak points of Cassie's testimony and understood that there would be cross points, and understood that this was going to be watched and poured over with a fine-tooth comb, like I'm sure your commentators will do. But if I'm the prosecutors right now, I'm thinking, okay, the opening statement laid it out. We have our first witness, our first key witness, who really just demonstrated that there was a lot of violence, a lot of threats, and really explained the nature and shocking nature of some of these so-called freak-offs. And then when you think about the actual claims involved, you know, sex trafficking, obviously that requires coercion or fraud.
Busby, shut up. Skeletor fan said George Clooney. This is all so nefarious. I had to go get me some trail mix, you all. I am starving. Okay, literally starving. Lana said Busby tried to blackmail famous people allegedly involved, and he was going to keep quiet. I believe it, beloved. I absolutely believe it. Okay. D. Major Scaling said Pierce is a clown. I don't really care for Pierce, especially since he sat up there and tried to go in on Meghan Markle and act like she didn't try to delete herself or she wasn't thinking about it. Mel said he's trying too hard. Busby, that is. Okay. I've got some updates, so let's get into it. Then we'll listen to what he's talking about. Okay, so they're back from break. I feel like I'm talking really loud. Maybe that's why I'm almost losing my voice. Hold on, let me tone it down a little bit. Or maybe my audio's up too high. Hold on. See, what you guys don't understand, because I remember one time I was doing a video and somebody said in the chat, why is this lady talking so loud? What y'all don't understand is sometimes in my earphones, I'm hearing like noise in the background, like almost like static or something. So that's why I'm trying to talk over it, I guess. Anyway, AJ said, Queen, I just made a salmon on my smoker. I'll send you some. Oh my goodness, you're so nefarious, AJ. Thank you, beloved. But I can't eat any meats, beloved, okay? Queen can't eat any salmon. All right, so a D major skeleton, you be preaching, Queen. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into it. That Crazy Beach Era said those earrings are everything. Thanks, beloved. I'll send them to you. Okay, so now listen. So they're back from the break, and Kerry is back on the stand for the cross exam. Okay, they say the prosecution has said it has no further questions from Kerry Morgan, so the defense is about to start their cross examination. Now, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo is cross examining Morgan. Now, I wonder why that is. I want y'all to pay attention. Why do you all think that Mark Agnifilo is cross-examining Kerry? Well, I think we all should know. Let me just tell you, I'm so glad you asked, because she's a good witness. Okay, she's a good witness, just like I told you all. And so they're getting the top dog to cross-examine her. Please pay attention. This is the first time that they've had a man cross-examine any of the women. So they say Mark Agnifilo is cross-examining her, and she was friends with Ventura, best friends for years, until 2018, when Morgan alleges that Sean Diddy Combs assaulted Morgan in Ventura's apartment. Let's see if he can trip her up. My guess is he can't. Kerry Morgan testified that she would see Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura often. If we were in the same town, we'd probably be hanging out. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo asked her to give a ballpark of how many times they saw each other in 2008. Morgan said probably a couple of times a month, but added that she had a boyfriend at that time, so she was probably seeing them less frequently than usual. Agnifilo said that asked Morgan if Ventura was jealous of Kim Porter. Oh, I know what he's trying to do. I know where this is going. Y'all, please pay attention. Remember how Cassie said that she was jealous of not only y'all? I want y'all to pay attention. Mark Agnifilo, don't you try it. He's asking her if Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter. Now, remember, Cassie has already testified to the fact that she was, in fact, jealous of Kim Porter, Gina Hun, and guess who? Her own dear friend of about 18 years, the one sitting on the stand right now, Kerry Morgan. Do y'all remember that? She said that she thought Diddy wanted Kerry. Kerry was probably really the only good friend that she had, if you ask me. So anyway, goes on to say that he asked her if Ventura was jealous of Kim Porter, the mother of several of Combs' children. Morgan acknowledged that it was an ongoing issue. When asked to be more specific, Morgan says she was jealous because she could never go to the New Year's Eve parties. Oh, honey, this is about to get real messy. Mark Agnifilo, you sneaky devil, you. Okay? If anybody's going to try to break something or find a flaw in her testimony, it will be him. Now, what he's going to do, because I'm going to tell y'all something, he pretty much knows that they can't find a hole in her testimony because this lady is smart. To me, she's the ideal witness because she's done her homework. Now, remember, I told you before the break that she said she remembers a myriad of times. She's seen a myriad of times where Diddy put hands on Cassie or did things to Cassie, but she's only speaking about the ones that she specifically remembers the best. So she only gave a couple of examples. So now they don't have anything to come back and poke holes in. See, so now what's he going to do? Well, it looks like he's going to bring up this stuff about Cassie being jealous and then ask her about other things that Cassie said to see if he can get holes in Cassie's story if Kerry doesn't say the same thing that either Cassie said, or is he going to mention to Kerry that Cassie said she was jealous of you? Or is he going to ask Kerry, do you think that Cassie was jealous of you? This is about to get real juicy in a minute. Just stay tuned. I'm waiting, but let's keep listening to Busby with this little lion self. Sitting up here with a whole filter, okay? Sitting up here with a whole filter on his face. I absolutely am done. Nicole said, Diddy, I'm here for your drama, bro. Me too. AJ Matthew said, sneaky devil is wild. Okay, let's continue.
or some sort of force involved. But there's also transportation to engage in prostitution. That would simply be transporting someone across state lines and paying them for sex. That's the Old Man Act that I'm sure you've heard of. So I think the prosecution is starting to build the wall, and I expect there will be a prosecution.
And do you ultimately believe that he is going down for a long time?
I don't want to, I've been very careful. We as you might expect, were contacted by the U.S. Attorney's Office early on in this. They wanted to talk to some of our alleged victims. We made them available to the extent they wanted to. Some did, most did not, which is not surprising. But so I don't want to jinx it or say yes or no. I mean, I'm confident to whether he is acquitted or he is convicted. It's been done in a professional manner, and I'll be, happy that the court system worked the way it's supposed to.
Okay, Tony Busby, thank you very much indeed. I appreciate you joining our Census again. Well, I'm
Yes,
now
sir.
joined by Ben Tube, a lawyer who served as a co-lead.
Monday CRM has the best AI features in the game,
especially in sales.
hands down.
So for me, email composition works like magic. You know me, I'm not a great
Counsel for Johnny Depp in the Amber Heard case, and the former defense attorney who represented Suge Knight, Matthew Fletcher. And interestingly, gentlemen, I think you both completely disagree here. Matthew, let me start with you. You think this is a case of Diddy being railroaded and that the case is almost borderline farcical. Why do you say that?
Well, good morning. I can tell you why it's farcical to me is this idea of this mythical creature that can take ketamine and MDA and booze and then have sex for dozens of days on end and hours. That from a pharmacological standpoint, that's not possible. This idea that Cassie waits 10, 12 years to file a lawsuit and writes a book and then doesn't turn it over to a general publishing group, but sends it to Jay-Z's lawyer and says, by the way, we're going to put this out unless you pay us millions of dollars, bespeaks the real motives behind this. And let me just say this. Puff is not a good person. He's a bad woman beater and he's a coward. I know the guy. Everybody I know agrees with that. But this is not a case about domestic violence. And you can talk about trauma bonding and any other psychological terms you want to lay on there. But the idea that Cassie had her own apartment, had her own money, had her own extra boyfriends or anything else does not speak to me as a traditional victim that we would see in a case of spousal abuse where this is ongoing. And I'll tell you this, when the prosecution told everyone that P. Diddy urinated in her mouth, that was shocking. When Daniel Phillip comes on and says, no, actually the person who urinated told me to urinate in her mouth was Cassie. And not only did she tell me that, she gave a tutorial and said, you want to do it slowly to make it last longer. At that point in time, the old adage is you can't win a trial with the first witness, but you can sure lose a trial. That lost me. Because what you're talking about now is an allegation that this, and I'm going to use its Mandingo stereotype of this crazed black man who's being prosecuted by 5 white women who are saying this man's sexual needs are insatiable and they can have sex for hours and hours and never rest and always ejaculate. That's not true from a pharmacological standpoint.
Diddy wasn't having sex for hours. He was watching. And besides that, Diddy only has a Tootsie Roll size, according to reports. They said it's the same size as a large Tootsie Roll. Please pay attention.
That is absurd. If this was in the 60s or 70s in Mississippi, I think people would be irate. I don't like Sean Combs. That video speaks for itself. The question is, why wasn't he prosecuted for that? The question is, why wasn't he prosecuted for all of these crimes that have allegedly occurred, but we save it all up and we bring it in this case? And to Mr. Busby's point, this idea that the federal government does no wrong in prosecuting people, it's kind of ironic that a Comey is on this case and a Comey also You know, and he doesn't need my my advice, but they told us that President Trump was a spy for Russia too, and that was complete BS, and we know that was. And so this idea and concept that the government does no wrong, federal government does no wrong in bringing cases, I don't think it's true. This is not a strong case. This is the case that if they prosecute it or defend it correctly, and you point out the idea that Cassie says Combs raped her and then she went back to his house sometime later and were having sex, and then her husband FaceTimed her, and she can't remember if she was actually had that man's genitals in her while she was FaceTiming her husband. That's not believable. It's not believable to me. No one would believe that. And it's just part of a long line of, as Busby says, these are bricks. A brick is not a wall, but a brick hits you in the head. A brick still hits you in the head. And like when Cassie says, Combs and his bodyguard went to shoot and kill Suge Knight. That's absurd. Combs is terrified of Suge Knight, terrified, has been terrified of him for decades, going back to a shooting that happened in Atlanta.
Let me stop right there for a second. Now, that did strike me as a bit strange, too, that Diddy was going to run up on Suge Knight, of all people. I said, Diddy? Do y'all think that Diddy was going to give Suge Knight the business? What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Now, let's remember, Suge Knight is the thug of all thugs. Many people feared him. And Suge Knight is the same person who was shot 5 times and stood tall and walked to get help. Y'all remember that? Anybody that can take 5 bullets and doesn't fall out, I'm not messing with them. I don't give a damn what they did. Please pay attention is all I'm saying. Now, that being said, Gwyneth said, eat up, keep energy for updates. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. And thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. But I want to hear more of this.
Combs is not a tough guy. He's not going to jump in a car and go kill Suge Knight in Los Angeles. That's almost laughable. But there's multiple aspects of this case that when you look at factually and practically, it really brings to question, why are we here prosecuting, what was the old adage, sex, drugs, and rock and roll? I'm not saying it's right, but I'm not silly enough to think that there aren't many people who've engaged in sex with rock and roll stars or movie stars and use sex and use drugs.
AJ said, that's very laughable. Patricia said, LOL, Diddy ran from Tupac at the award show. He damn sure did. And he was scared of Tupac, and I can vouch for that. He was definitely scared of Tupac, honey. So I just don't see him running up on Suge Knight like he's going to give Suge Knight the smoke. Diddy? Okay. Yeah, I don't believe it. AJ said, yeah, he had to have some courage, extra courage. Somehow, he ain't about that life. Yeah, see, here's the thing. Diddy's not really a badass, I don't think. That's why he was beating up on all these women. These men who tend to beat up on women like that are usually cowards, as far as I'm concerned.
Those are never prosecuted.
Okay.
And Cassie says, I paid.
Yeah, no, listen, I just wanted to bring in, Ben has been listening to all that because it was fascinating. I got to say, the way you talked through all that. Ben, you don't agree. You think Diddy's going down. Why are you certain of that?
Well, I think my colleague makes some excellent points, and obviously this is going to be a very long trial, so there's much to still unfold. I think the purpose of opening with Cassie, of course, is the video, and the video certainly prepares the jury to conclude that he is capable of committing the crimes for which he's ultimately charged. The problem I had with the cross-examination of Cassie Ventura is this isn't a he said, she said case. There are going to be 3 other women and maybe even another male alleged victim who are going to tell a similar story. One of the second witness has already corroborated another alleged beating of Cassie Ventura. So that's the problem. And I think the government will have, it's not that the government can do no wrong. Obviously, we have seen it do wrong in some cases.
Here's the problem, though. The government may have all these witnesses, but if all these witnesses are just testifying about beatings, don't you all think that maybe at least one person on that darn jury is just saying this is just a case of domestic assault, domestic violence? Listen, the problem is there is somebody on that jury who's saying exactly what this man with the bald head just said. And remember, Diddy said all he needs is one. Now, they need to come harder with proving their darn point about this RICO. That's my opinion. Michael M. said if Diddy was shadow boxing, the shadow would probably knock him out. I agree.
But I think the point is that the government would not have brought this indictment if it did not have evidence.
Right. I mean, the track record of the federal government in cases like this is almost, it's inevitable that he goes down. It's like 99% hit rate, right? But they do occasionally get it wrong. But most of the time, if the feds bring a case like this, they win. I mean, isn't that the likelihood here, just on stats alone?
100%. I mean, the prosecution conviction rate of the federal government is in 99 percentiles, greater than the odds of being convicted if you're in Russia. Doesn't change the facts that in each case that sometimes you get defense attorneys who know what they're doing and know how to fight it and understand it and take them on. And in this case, what the prosecution is doing is saying that's a bad, mean, violent guy. Look at all of the bad things he does.
Let me stop right there for a second now. Lana says, I'm really shocked they didn't subpoena J-Lo. I am too, to be honest with you, beloved. And here's why. Let me go to Exhibit A. Let's talk about it. Because I was surprised too, because here's the thing. In April of this year, just a month ago, April the 17th, this is what came up. Do y'all remember this? Hold on, let me see if I can. Let me stop the share for just a second so I can show you all something. Now, this is what came out in April, which made me think that maybe J-Lo was going to have a little something to say. Y'all see that? Let's talk about it. Exclusive. J-Lo faces court grilling in Diddy trial as his legal team fights to dismiss evidence from infamous 1999 New York club shooting. Now, why wouldn't they bring this up? J-Lo doesn't have a dog in the fight because she has not filed a lawsuit against Diddy. She has not publicly spoken out against Diddy. She's been quiet on this entire issue. Now, why is that important? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because you see some of these people who've already said negative things about Diddy, that's why they're not being asked to testify, because they could come off as disgruntled, like I told you all on yesterday. But J-Lo hasn't really said anything. So why wouldn't they have her to say something? Now, Jennifer Lopez's face is being dragged into ex-Sean Diddy Combs' high-profile SEX trafficking trial as prosecutors seek to use evidence from the infamous 1999 club shooting that led to both stars being arrested. The singer and then boyfriend Sean or Diddy were at a club New York in Manhattan on December the 27th of 1999. Well, we already know the story. We already know the story. So it's interesting that J-Lo isn't going to be called, and also even more so that Natanya Rubin, who was shot in the face, isn't going to be called. Well, you know, here's the thing about it. Now, as I think about Natanya Rubin, they wouldn't call her for the simple fact that Shine was convicted of the shooting of Natanya Rubin. But according to Natanya, Diddy was the one who fired the shot that hit her in the face. Okay, so we do know that Diddy has a propensity towards violence, but the bottom line is, and here's the thing though, maybe the government in their in building their case or improving their case, maybe they're hoping that because of all the extreme violence and the threats and intimidation, well, that absolutely does prove coercion. That's exactly what that proves. So there's an element of the RICO. There is an element of what they have been saying about the trafficking through force, fraud, and coercion. So the beatings, the intimidation, the threats, that is force and that is coercion. Okay. So that's probably what that's definitely what they're talking about. But bottom line is, does the jury see it that way? I doubt it. I doubt all 12 jurors. I doubt all 12 of them see it that way, because many people don't even see it that way, let alone the jurors. And they're just regular people themselves. Please pay attention.
And they're playing to the stereotype, and they're doing it covertly, but it's fairly obvious to those of us of a certain persuasion that you're arguing that this is a sex-crazed black man who has to get his craven desires administered to on a daily basis. So they set up an entire record company for the purposes of being able to entice Cassie Ventura into having sex. That's baloney, but that's what they're doing. And they can bring on multiple people they've had sex with. And all they're proving is, you know what, there's a secret. There's sex workers in the world, and there's people who frequent sex workers, but that doesn't really go to the issue. This is a RICO prosecution that was ideally brought to take down the mafia. Sean Diddy Combs is a guy who's a woman beater, and they should have prosecuted him for it. And there's no question about it. But you're telling me with a straight face, this is a human slave tract, white slave act case?
I'm sorry. I have to agree with him. I have to agree with him. This is given exactly what he said, whether some people want to believe it or not. They should have charged Diddy with different crimes that they could easily prove. There are so many people saying that Diddy beat the crap out of Cassie. Okay? I mean, at the end of the day, I am too gummy says I totally agree with him. I do too. I said the same exact thing just days ago. Measure Man said, why Ruben isn't admitting that she was with him doing his back tattoo and was his spiritual advisor. She was part of Carbonation. It's the reason. I don't know, honey. I don't know that woman. I'm not going to speak on her because I don't know a thing about that lady. But I do. I didn't even know she did tattoos. But thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Beloved, peace, love, and blessings. Gwendolyn said, I agree too, Queen. Star Child said, I agree. Nubian Cutie said, Queen, you said this weeks ago. I sure did. And that's just a fact. Okay, that's why I'm saying if they really want to take Diddy down, they should have hit him with charges that are going to stick. Did they even charge him with the gun and the rugs? Did they even charge him with that? Let me go pull up that indictment and see, because I can't even remember. All I keep hearing about is the S trafficking and the force, fraud, and coercion and the transportation across state lines for prostitution. Mama Joycelyn says, Queen, I'm glad J-Lo is not a witness. She'll stand for her fellow celebrity. Plus she was on Diddy's live during Stupid 19. Yeah, I remember that. I showed you all the videos. She was. Black Gossip says, I don't want to see a black man in jail if he needs anger management. We can manage that. Nevertheless, it's not looking good for the feds. They do not play fair. Gwendolyn says, who the hell is Carbon Nation? You know, that's that cult that was run by Nature Boy, a.k.a. Elijah Bishop, who's now serving, I believe, a life sentence in prison. Nubian Cutie said it was weeks, Queen, before the trial began. Mm-hmm. AJ says, I don't think they charge him with that, and that's probably what they should have charged with. Yes, that's what they should have charged him with. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't charge him with the guns, with the serial number scraped off. I mean, you have different people that have gotten up there and said that he had a gun. Cassie testified to it. Don Richard testified to it. Okay, so they easily could get him on that. Many people have said that he had the illegal substances. They caught him with illegal substances. The agent got up there and testified to it. Why didn't they charge him with let me just check the indictment because I can't remember. Diddy's had so much going on. I can't remember everything, every detail from all the lawsuits. But let me pull that up while you all are listening to this video.
There's no one who was brought here against their will. Cassie had every choice she wanted to make. They talk about Kid Cudi. Go be with him. Talk about Michael B. Jordan. You know, the reality is this was an incredibly attractive woman, and she was in great demand and had many opportunities to have people. She chose that lifestyle, and I'm not in any way.
Well, as we're talking, actually, Matthew, I want to bring Ben back here because Dawn Richard, for the Danity Kane singer, has been on the stand today and recorded an incident in 2009 where she witnessed Diddy hit Ventura with a skillet and then allegedly threatened both Richard and Ventura. Richard testified, he said you could go missing, that we
Okay, you all hold your thoughts. I'm going to read some of the updates really quick. Remember, Pierce was talking about Diddy making the threat to Don Richard, saying that people could go missing. Okay, so let's talk about that. Measurement said TMZ even deleted the claim of GHB in the baby oil post from social media and website. Really? Well, I told y'all there was nothing in that darn baby oil, but y'all didn't want to listen to me. Everybody had made up their minds. Okay, so Kerry Morgan testified that police came to Cassie Ventura's apartment after the March 2016 incident at the Intercontinental Hotel because of the banging on the door. Now, she said at the time Ventura had a black eye and was wearing a hoodie. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo asked if the police said anything that would lead her to believe they saw the injury. She said yes. They asked what happened, Morgan says, adding that Ventura didn't say anything in response. Morgan said she didn't remember if she told the police about Sean Diddy Combs hammering the door. As Don Richard, a former Danity Kane band member, testified about a 2009 incident where she saw Sean Diddy Combs attack Cassie with a skillet. Misty Maris, a defense attorney, told CNN's Boris Sanchez she did what prosecutors needed her to do. Okay, by detailing a threat Diddy allegedly made toward Richard following the skillet incident. Maris, who was in the courtroom, said that the testimony is critical to the prosecution's argument because this is all about control, and said that it speaks to the idea of blackmail, of a cover-up, and of people being kept in line, a theme that has been persistent throughout opening statements and Ventura's own testimony. Now, during cross-examination, Richard was questioned about why this threat was never mentioned in prior interviews, even with the prosecutors, why she never said anything about the threat. That detail, coupled with her pending civil suit seeking financial damages, allowed the defense to box her in and show that she may have other motives for what she shared on the stand. I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't believe Don Richard's entire testimony, and here's why. You see, even if you forget some details of your story and then they come back to you later, this could absolutely happen. I believe it. But the bottom line is, how do you forget the meat and potatoes of your story? How do you forget that after he hit her or swung at her with the skillet, that he came to see you the next day and warned you that people come up missing? That's the first thing that I would have remembered. I would have led with that. You mean to tell me you forgot that he threatened you? Who forgets something like that? See, that's why it's looking like she just added it in. Now, maybe she absolutely did. I mean, Diddy threatened a lot of people. He probably did threaten her. But the bottom line is, how did she not lead with that? How did she conveniently leave that out of her conversation during the interviews with the prosecutors? Okay, I can only imagine what the jury's thinking. That was a big mess up right there for me. Even if it is true, she should have definitely said that first. How do you forget something? If somebody threatens me, starts talking about coming up missing, first of all, I'm going straight to the police. That's for number one. Okay, because if I'm already scared of you and then you start telling me I might come up missing, at that point, I know somebody needs to know something in case I actually do come up missing. At that point, I'm going to feel like I don't have anything to lose and that I definitely need to go to the police. But furthermore, how do you forget that? So anyway, the goal is to impeach the credibility, and one way to do so is to talk about how somebody might be remembering something differently today than back when it actually happened, Marie said. And that's what the defense will argue. that this story has been molded. Yeah, of course, that's what they're going to argue. I mean, Dawn just gave them the doorway to do so. Like I said, Kerry is the better witness out of everybody that's testified, even better than Cassie. That's my opinion. Kerry Morgan, on the other hand, came off very, very credible during her testimony. Did not tell y'all, even the legal analysts are agreeing with the Queen's assessment. Okay, so she came off as a very, very credible witness. Yes, she absolutely did. And shout out to Kerry, like I said. Okay. She was very detailed. She detailed 2 incidents where she testified that she witnessed Combs being violent. This all speaks to the idea of control and coercion. I did tell you all that too, that is the control and the coercion. Okay. And her testimony thus far has been really, really compelling. And she's coming off as a pretty great witness for the prosecution, corroborating Cassie's story. Yeah, she's doing a good job. Okay. Shout out to her. Okay. Dawn Richard missed the ball. She missed the mark, in my opinion. Now, some may beg to differ, but that's just how I see it. Kerry Morgan testified that Sean Diddy Combs was jealous when Cassie Ventura started talking to actor Michael B. Jordan. I'm jealous too. Why the hell I can't talk to Michael B. Jordan? No, I'm just joking. He's too young for me, but let me continue. They were together and he was jealous about it, Morgan said. And I think she was trying to leave him. Morgan said she visited Ventura while she was shooting a movie in South Africa, and at that time, and one of Combs' assistants was also there during the trip. The assistant, who was referred to as Mia, had a lot of energy and the stamina to keep up with the demands of the job. She was pretty close with Cassie, close enough that she came with her to South Africa to help her out. Now, so for some added context, they say last week, Ventura testified that Mia and other assistants witnessed Combs physically abusing her. Now, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo asked Kerry Morgan to further explain why she broke off her friendship with Cassie Ventura in 2018 after 17 years. This question came after Morgan earlier on Monday testified she was no longer Ventura's friend because she alleges Combs assaulted Morgan in Ventura's apartment in 2018. Answering Agnifilo's question, Morgan said, "The reason I stopped speaking with her is because she was not supportive of me after the incident." She absolutely wasn't. Morgan was a good friend. Cassie wasn't, because she sat there and told her that she was overreaching, that basically you're doing too much. Let me tell you something. If I'm friends with you and your man hits me upside my damn head with a wooden hammer and you tell me I'm reaching, yeah, I'm going to cut off the friendship too. Okay? You're on your own at this point. Now, Morgan again recounted her fallout with Ventura after the alleged 2018 incident. Agnifilo suggested that Ventura paid Morgan in a meeting after the alleged incident, but Morgan maintained that her understanding was that the money came from Combs. She offered me money to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and that was essentially to close the case on this and ensure Morgan didn't file a lawsuit or say something publicly, Morgan testified. Okay, so Morgan didn't file a lawsuit because that's what they initially said. They said that she filed a lawsuit. They said that she sued and that Cassie paid her. But she's testifying that she thinks the money came from Combs. She doesn't know for a fact, but she thinks it came from him, which likely it did. Where's Cassie gonna get $30,000 to pay somebody off to keep quiet? That's a Diddy move, okay? And then she says that she offered me money to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Now, Ventura hasn't reached out to her since the fallout in 2018. That's another thing too. Why wouldn't Cassie reach out to her own dear friend? Morgan earlier today testified that a month after the alleged incident, or the assault in 2018, she met with Ventura, and Ventura told her that she would be receiving $30,000 from Combs and that Morgan signed a non-disclosure agreement. Morgan testified that she did in fact receive the money. Now here's the last one. Kerry Morgan, Cassie Ventura's former best friend, confirmed that she believed Sean Diddy Combs and Ventura loved each other. Morgan said there were times when she thought they should try to work things out. Oh my goodness, you guys, I have a video to show you all that my friend sent me the other day, that my source sent me about Diddy and Cassie when they were out of town. I think they were having a celebration for Diddy's birthday. I don't think I showed you all that. So I'm going to go to that in a second. But Morgan said there were times when she thought they should try to work things out. Okay, so that's the latest. Okay, Inner City Press hasn't posted anything for 2 hours, so it must be getting juicy for them. Okay, so let's listen to this until I get this other video.
He could die. I was shocked, but also scared. She said she saw Combs carrying a handgun. She said Combs' bodyguards had guns too, keeping them on their lower back. I mean, to Matthew's point, Ben, I mean, he's obviously a very bad guy. He's obviously a woman beater. We've seen that with the video. He likes guns. He likes to threaten people, all of these things. But in terms of what the feds have actually gone after him for, racketeering, sex trafficking, and so on, Matthew makes a good point. This was set up for the mafia. This was the kind of stuff that when Rudy Giuliani tried to go after the mob, this is how they did it. And some people do think that they've just overreached in what they're going for him for on this. And for that reason alone, a jury might be persuaded to acquit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Matthew and you both make excellent points, and that may be what ultimately happens. But we're at the beginning of a very long trial. And one of the things, as Matthew knows, is if you're a prosecution or if you're just putting on any kind of case, you want to keep the jury interested. So there'll be sensational testimony, as we've begun with sensational testimony that prepares the jury for the idea that maybe this isn't a good guy. And there's going to be some technical testimony going through the elements of the crimes for which he is charged. Now, if that's not there, if they don't have the receipts, there could be an acquittal and there could be an overreaching. But I think the prosecution is still very early on in its case. So I think we have to wait and see.
And Ben, do you see
There's
any
something very interesting.
Sorry, just one sec, Matthew. I'll come back to you. But just to bring in, when you were on the Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard case, do you see any parallels here? In particular, perhaps how a jury might be moved by what they hear?
Well, I think these are very different cases. That was Mr. Depp's case, civil case for defamation. So I don't see the parallel so much here.
But in terms of how a jury can be not.
Hold on, let me get a couple of the comments. Mama's Joycelyn said, whoever is typing for Inner City Press is listening to the juicy details that they forgot to type. That's exactly what I was thinking. I said, damn, Matthew, you must be all into this because you haven't typed in 2 hours. That's unusual for him. It must be juicy, honey. Trust me. Okay, I was thinking the exact same thing. Okay, I Am Too Gummy says the prosecution thought that he would have settled, but when he did not, they're shambling for evidence to prove their case. Yeah, I think that they thought Diddy was going to take a plea deal because they offered him a plea deal at least twice. I do believe that they probably thought that he would take one. Okay. Songwriter Sonny said, this grown man is a sassy gossip girl. If he was my dad, I'd lie and say he touched me. Oh my goodness, my stomach hurts. Songwriter Sonny, you're so damn nefarious. Oh my goodness, my stomach literally hurts at this point. That is awful. Let me look for some updates.
Manipulated, but perhaps led down certain thought processes. Do you I mean, star power cannot be ignored, I think, in these cases.
No, I think that's right. And that's why I think you have to, in other words, if you're representing Diddy, you're going to have to counter that. And you're going to have to, I think he's going to have to testify as a practical matter. Criminal defendants usually don't. But I think with the video and the other testimony, I think he's going to have to come out and counter the narrative and be penitent for that, even if that's not what he's being tried for. I think he needs to put that before the jury.
Yeah, and Matthew, finally to you on that point, would you, if you were advising Diddy, would you tell him to testify?
Diddy's horrible in cross-examination. When he was working with Johnny Cochran back in his original case and shooting, he comes off horrendously. And one quick point I want to make, if I may, this issue of consent and coercion, and the judge made a very big ruling last week when he agreed that they are going to show the videos or some of the videos. And I've been told that Cassie is either a tremendous actress or she's actually having climaxes or orgasms. It's the when Harry met Sally argument. If that woman literally is on video having sex freely, and if what I've been told is true, that makes a real big issue as to whether or not this was coerced.
Wait a minute. Now I want y'all to pay attention to what he just said, because I never thought about that. Has anybody seen When Harry Met Sally? Once in the chat, if you saw When Harry Met Sarah, he said a Harry Met Sally moment. Now that's something to think about. Did y'all see When Harry Met Sally? It was nefarious. So he's saying that Cassie was on video having orgasms. I mean, somebody can make you do something, but what they can't make you do is have those. That's all I'm saying. Now, is that why the prosecution didn't want to show the actual freak off footage, but they rather showed still shots? I have several questions. Okay, I have, because I don't see. That's a good one. Okay, I didn't even think of that. This man's doing his homework. How much did Diddy pay you, sir? Because I'm starting to think Diddy gave him some coins. Let me go to the last updates, and then we're going to keep listening, because this is all getting nefarious. This is all getting nefarious, honey, at the end of the day. Okay? I mean, I didn't think of that. I did not think of that. Blazing said the lunch scene was classic. Ooh, honey, it was. Do I need to pull it up and show the receipts? For anybody that missed it, if y'all didn't see When Harry Met Sally, you don't know what he's talking about. But those who saw it, if you know, you know. Okay, so let's go to the last couple of updates from 13 minutes ago. Hold on. $30,000. She testified she received the money. Okay, I read that one. Okay, so let's go to 8 minutes ago. Kerry Morgan, Cassie Ventura's former friend, confirmed that she believed Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura loved each other. Okay, I read that too. 2 minutes ago, Kerry Morgan testified that when Sean Diddy Combs assaulted her in 2018, he was asking who Cassie Ventura was cheating on him with. Huh. That's not what Cassie said. I want y'all to pay attention. That's not what Cassie said on the stand. That's not why Cassie said he hit that young lady in the head with that damn wooden hammer. Now, somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. That's not what Cassie said. Does anybody remember what Cassie said as to why he supposedly hit this woman on the head? And if I have to go with who I believe, I'm going to say I believe Kerry. Does anybody remember what Cassie said when she was asked about why he hit this young woman with that hammer? I mean, that hanger. Nobody remembers? Somebody put in the chat. Somebody put in the chat. I'm going to tell y'all in a second, because that is not what Cassie said. Okay? Nicole said she stole the Tootsie. Ray J said, Ray J? I know damn well that better not be Ray J, Brandy's little brother in my chat. But anyway, listen. Said drugs. That's what Cassie said. Cassie said that he got upset because these two were doing drugs together, and that's why he hit her upside the head. Now, here's the question. Why would Cassie say that it was because they were doing drugs when this young lady is testifying to the fact that it was because he wanted to know who Cassie was cheating on him with? You know what I think? Maybe Cassie didn't want to talk about the fact that she was cheating, or that Diddy accused her of cheating. Just like when the defense kept asking her about cheating, she never could remember. She kept saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember. Okay? I find that interesting. Now, Cross-examination of Kerry Morgan wraps up. The defense's cross-examination of Kerry Morgan is finished. The prosecution will now do a redirect, an opportunity to re-question Kerry Morgan. Shout out to Kerry Morgan. Shout out to Kerry Morgan. That young lady did her thing. She didn't bend, bow, or break, and she didn't get tripped up not once, even though Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's lead attorney, and who's a very thorough, high-profile attorney, even though she was cross-examined by him. Shout out to Kerry, honey, okay? She did her thing. All right, and just for those of you who don't know who Kerry is, let me just pull her picture up real quick. That's her right there with the blonde hair. All right, that young lady did the damn thing as far as I'm concerned. All right, Diddy, you're going down. All right, that's where you're going. You're going down, Diddy. All right, Dawn Richard didn't help the case as far as I'm concerned. All she did was get up there and add reasonable doubt, which is the last thing I wanted her to do, because in fact, that's what the defense needs, is reasonable doubt. Okay? That's what the defense needs desperately, is reasonable doubt. So at the end of the day, I don't think Dawn's testimony helped at all. As far as I'm concerned, they could have left her out of it. And here's the thing. Don't forget that I told you it's going to be Dawn Richard's testimony that gets this whole damn thing overturned after Diddy's convicted, because she mentioned prior bad acts that didn't have anything to do with the case when she was talking about herself. All she needed to do was get up there and corroborate what Cassie said. Okay? You see how this young lady, Kerry, got up there and she talked about what Cassie said? She corroborated what Cassie said. She didn't get up there and start making it about her and bringing up stuff about herself unless she was specifically asked. Okay? Are y'all paying attention? Are y'all paying attention? This young lady gets an A+ as it goes for witnesses. All right. But let me continue. And she doesn't have a motive either, because she's not suing Diddy. So the jury is going to be listening to all of that, because to me, they made Dawn look like she was just up there, you know, just trying to get some get back on Diddy, perhaps, or whatever. That's what that sounded like to me. Now, I'm not saying that's what she was doing, but that's not even important. It's what it comes off as. Okay, remember, I keep telling you all, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And they poked holes in Dawn's story. They also poked holes in Cassie's story. Whose story they didn't poke holes in is this young lady, okay, Kerry Morgan.
It's a bad situation in retrospect, and she may be a wonderful witness today. And similar to Amber Heard, from what I've been told, she turns to the jury and speaks to them, which jurors hate. And prosecutors and lawyers always make the mistake of, now turn to the jury and talk to them. It's not natural. And so I see the similarities in that context. But this whole idea and concept that we're going to go back and Monday morning quarterback a person's sex scenes is open. Certainly leaves open the question that she enjoyed certain portions of it. And then that really goes to the heart of the case. If part was consensual, they have to go down on it. But my understanding, there's no way, to answer the point, that Diddy's testifying. And the more they play that video, it kind of works in the favor of the defense, because the jurors get desensitized to it. It's horrendous. It's bad. In Suge Knight's case, we played the video over and over of the young man being ran over by the car, because after a while, it's just making sausage. It's shocking when you first see it, but when you work there, it's not that bad. But, you know, unless something changes drastically, my understanding is, and Diddy would come off horribly, in my opinion.
Fascinating. I've got to leave it there. Matthew, Ben, both, thank you very much indeed.
All right, so I'm about to play you all some never before published footage of Diddy and Cassie from 2017 that my inside source sent me on yesterday. Okay, Gravedigger said, Queen, you're always right. Thank you, beloved. I wouldn't say I'm always right, but I try to be. But thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, Mama Joyce said, Dawn gave angry and vindictive. Yes, I told you my story said she walked in there all mad, took the stand. There he is. That's him. She was fired up, honey. Please pay attention. What do you think the jury was thinking when she got up there and got twisted up in her own story, honey? Make it all make sense. Okay, so shout out to Kerry again, like I said. Now, that being said, let's go to this video This is all nefarious, honey, okay? It's all nefarious. Now, I'm not going to play the audio because they're playing music. But here's the thing. Doesn't really matter because all they're doing is they're showing Diddy and Cassie at this party. This is from 2017 where they were in Mexico, right? And for Diddy's birthday party. Now, I will turn the volume on, the audio on, when they get to the part where they start singing happy birthday to Diddy, because I want y'all to see what Diddy does when they start singing to his arse. Okay, hold on. Let me put some music of my own in the background. Lights up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, let me ask you all something. Can you all, I am too gummy said Dawn seems bitter. I mean, she came off as if she was. Can you all hear that music? Because how come I can't hear it? Oh, first of all, that's the wrong song. Okay, I can hear it now. I'm like, what's going on here? Okay. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to start this video. Lights up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Rock and pin is swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights, dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen I'ma Die production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Rock and pin is swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights, where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme in our heart.
Another Queen I'ma Die production.
Set the lights low.
I want you to sing from the top of your lungs. I'm gonna sing from my motherfucking birthday. I'm gonna sing from my motherfucking birthday.
That wasn't good.
I want you to sing from the top of your lungs.
That was the top of my lungs, though.
If you don't feel it, let's not do it.
That was the top of mine. Top of mine, very top. Very, very top.
Happy birthday
Now, there were two things for you all to notice. Did you all notice how when Diddy and Cassie first got there, and Diddy walked over, or they walked over there, and Justin came over? Did you all notice that Justin didn't even speak to Cassie, and that Cassie walked away? Remember how in court she said that she didn't get holidays? She didn't get to, get to spend the holidays with Diddy. She didn't get to be around his kids. It's coming off like maybe the kids didn't like Cassie for some reason. Because why didn't Justin speak to her? Did y'all notice that? Did y'all notice that? That is so sad. Here's the thing. They looked so happy together. You know, the sad thing is, they both had everything going for themselves. Too bad they were on these illegal substances, okay, addicted to drugs, and it got violent and volatile, and Diddy's such a devil. You know, if Diddy just could have been a nice person, okay, and not abuse his authority, so to speak, he could be living lavish right now to this day. Him and Cassie could have gotten married and ridden off into the sunset. Cassie looks so happy right there. All she really wanted was for Diddy to love her and treat her nice and spend time with her. But at the end of the day, she got bumps upside the head, black eyes, and busted lips instead. This is all so darn sad, honey. What a waste of life, love, and happiness. It's all so sad. James said Cassie made a lot of colorist comments. Did she? I don't know about that. I never heard anything about that. I'm not saying she didn't, but I never heard anything about that. I don't know how she made colorist comments when Diddy's dark as all get out. Sheila said they knew Cassie was just a jump off. You know, I don't think everybody knew that, because people are saying, including her own friend, that Diddy and Cassie loved each other. It's just unfortunate for both of them. Diddy's the devil. Nubian Cutie said, yep, I saw that. She went to get something. Yeah, that's what you do when somebody around you, you're uncomfortable, and because you know they probably don't like you, and then they walk up and don't even have the decency to speak. I would have walked up to get something too. Sandra said Cassie ain't nothing but a beard. AJ Matthew said Flavor Flav dark. I mean, I think Flavor Flav's darker than Diddy, but Diddy's dark nonetheless. That's all I'm saying. James said she told Diddy she can make prettier babies with him. She told Diddy she can make prettier babies with him. Oh, are you saying prettier babies than Kim could make? But, you know, to be honest, all of Diddy's kids are nice looking. This is all so sad. Songwriter Sonny said, I could see things from all sides, but what is the energy that's really fueling so much chaos? Demonic energy, beloved. That's the energy. Demonic. Okay? That's what demons do. They fuel chaos. Okay? I'll tell you one thing. Diddy's got some beautiful kids. All of those kids are nice looking. So anyway, let's just see what's going on, guys. This is all sad. I'm starting to feel all misty-eyed. Starting to feel all misty-eyed, beloveds. Just Anticipate said all except the one who looks just like him. Really, Just Anticipate? So you're saying everybody except King Combs? King Combs is nice looking too to me. He looks like Diddy more so, but he also looks a little like Kim. And the daughters definitely look like Kim and Diddy. I think they look like Diddy and Kim, all three of them. And matter of fact, the daughters look more like Diddy than Kim, to be honest. I don't think Kim really necessarily had strong genes, because Quincy doesn't look anything like Kim. He looks like Albie Shore made him all by himself. He's the spitting image of his dad. Okay? Spitting image of Albie Shore. All right? And shout out to Al B. Sure, because all the people that died around Diddy, Al B. Sure is still here. And I, for one, can't wait to see that documentary he has coming out. Okay, Just Anticipate said his daughters are really pretty and Justin is handsome. I agree. Sheila said, I think the girls look like both. I agree. Sheila said, yes, Queen, the daughters are Diddy in a wig. Ooh, honey, don't talk about Diddy in a wig because you know we've seen it. Remember when Diddy had on that damn flip wig and the black lace? Diddy is so damn zesty. Diddy is so zesty. It's hilarious. Ladybug said King looks just like Diddy in 1993 and 1994. He does. He does. Absolutely. Dream Josh said if he committed nefarious deeds, prosecute him in an honest manner. I agree, beloved. I absolutely agree with you on that. Sierra said the one daughter looks nothing like him. I'll tell you who don't look anything like him. You're right. Chance really doesn't look like Diddy at all, but neither does that beautiful little baby, Love. Love doesn't look a thing like Diddy. Okay? As a matter of fact, Love looks like how I would have pictured Diddy's child, if he ever had that child with Gina Hoon, how that child would have looked. It's a shame that he made Gina get that abortion. I feel really bad for her. She wanted that baby too. Diddy, you are the devil. All right? AJ says, show that video, Queen, please, the wig video. Y'all are getting messy. See, now y'all just being messy. Now y'all are just being messy as hell. Now y'all want me to go dig up dirt. I'll find it in just a second. Please hold. Sheila said, baby Love is beautiful. Yeah, she is. She's the cutest little thing. And Diddy knew what he was doing when he had the boys make a video of her for Father's Day. Wasn't it Father's Day or his birthday? It was Diddy's birthday. And cute little Love was eating all the cake. Oh, that just made me want to cry. That just made me want to cry for those beautiful little girls. Okay, they don't deserve this at all. Okay, and so anyway, hold tight for more details. Okay, here we go. 7 minutes ago, the defense's cross-examination of Kerry Morgan has ended. In a brief redirect, Assistant U.S. Attorney Meredith Foster asked Morgan to reiterate her accounts of the 2 times that she says she clearly remembers seeing Sean Diddy Combs assault Ventura. When asked, Morgan said the couple wasn't arguing about jealousy on either occasion. Prior to assaulting Ventura in Jamaica, Combs yelled at Ventura for taking too long in the bathroom. After the short redirect, Morgan left his stand. The next witness will be David James, a former assistant to Combs. James will be the 7th witness to testify in the trial. It's about to get real. I can't wait for Cassie's mother to get up there, Regina Ventura. David James, a former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs, asked, how long do we have? When he was asked to describe his role working as an assistant for Combs, he said, how long do we have? Okay. Clearly he has a lot to say. James said that he was with Combs every day that he was working and traveled around the world with him. James said that his job was to make sure Combs was able to cooperate as a chairman of the company and to get every environment comfortable. James said that he sometimes worked 3 weeks straight without a day off. As Combs hired more personal staff, he could work 5 days or 5-day weeks. James said that he would arrive at Combs' house before he woke up and coordinate with the chef to make sure breakfast was getting started. Oh, really? Y'all catch that? Did y'all catch that tea? Did y'all catch that tea? Jeff said, I wonder what Cassie's mother looks like. Honey, look at the screen. There's Cassie's mother right there next to Cassie. That's Cassie's mother right there with the yellow blouse on. Okay. Ladybug said breakfast eggs. Exactly. Did y'all catch that? He said he would coordinate with the chef to make sure breakfast was getting started. Now, Don Richard, didn't you say that Diddy hit Cassie with a skillet or tried to and threw the eggs at her? And then remember, Straight No Chaser with the Queen was on here when I first brought that up. And she said, since when does Cassie cook? And I told y'all that Diddy had chefs. Why the hell would Cassie be cooking eggs or anything else? And then Diddy's going to get mad about it? No, he had chefs. That's why I didn't believe Don's testimony for the most part. Okay? So anyway, He would compile documents for Combs, including business decisions that he needed to approve, his daily schedule, and news stories about Combs. After Combs woke up and ate breakfast, they would then go to the studio and then back to Combs's house or another destination. Okay, now, hold on. Okay, so then 2 minutes ago, David James, a former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs, said that he sought the job after reading an article in the New York Times saying the chairman of Bad Boy Entertainment was looking for an assistant. He applied multiple times, sending his resume via fax, email, and dropping it off in person. He met several people at the company when he was interviewed for the job, including a senior vice president of human resources. During their meeting, the executive pointed at a picture of Combs on the wall, and James said he told him, "This is Mr. Combs's kingdom. We're all here to serve in it." Okay, we're all here to serve in it. Interesting choice of words. So Diddy was the man who would be king? Is that what they're saying? David James, a former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs, testified that Combs' security staffers often told him to stay in my lane, especially if he was asking too many questions. Well, I would have told him that too. I don't like anybody that's hired to be asking too many darn questions. Okay, mind your business. At least mind the business that pays you. Now, right? See, he was probably in there trying to be nosy, trying to find out things that had nothing to do with his line of work. AJ Matthews said scrambled with peppers and cheese. AJ, are you telling us how you like your eggs, beloved? Okay. Are you telling us how you like your eggs? Then he says everything bread, toast, and turkey bacon. Okay, AJ, listen, I'm going to take a break for a second just so you can go cook you some breakfast because clearly somebody's hungry. Okay. Oh, my goodness. With that all being said, Senator telling me how he likes his damn eggs. Eggs scrambled with peppers and cheese and, and toast and bacon. Do you need your orange juice on the side, sir? Would you like that from concentrate or freshly squeezed with the pulp? With the pulp or without? AJ, if you don't sit down somewhere making this all about you, damn it, we're trying to find out if Diddy's going down or not, okay? Sitting up here making orders for breakfast. Nicole said Dawn knows she cooked them eggs and Diddy threw them because they were not good. Then AJ says he's going to need to have 2 seats. Sorry. So you're going to give yourself several seats? Dream Jaw says my mouth is watering. So's mine. Dr. Doom said he got IHOP on the mind. Just Anticipate said AJ thinks he's at the Waffle House. I know, and he thinks I'm the cook, clearly. Dream Jaw said cranberry juice, please. Oh my God, you are nefarious. AJ said we don't eat Waffle House here. Gwendolyn said on my side. Oh my God, this is all nefarious. Nicole said this chat wins today. Roddy says send AJ some green eggs and ham. Blazer said Don burned the eggs and Cassie took the whoop whoop for it. Oh my God, Mama Joy said my chest. I know, right? Claudette said grape jelly, please. Jeff says, I thought only U.S. Southern folks eat breakfast in the afternoons. Personally, I don't. Okay. Oh my God, you all are so nefarious. Everybody calm down, please. Sheila said, order in the court. Just anticipate said my jaws hurt. Mine do too. Oh my goodness, this is all so crazy. This chat is nefarious. You're right, Rodney. You are absolutely right. Hold on, let me see if we got any updates because I absolutely cannot. I absolutely cannot. Excuse me. Buckhorse DC said he's at the grocery store collecting his supper. Oh my Lord. Okay. So what? Aqua Girl Rise and said Cassie grabbed the wrong eggs. She grabbed the nefarious ones. That crazy bitch Eric said, what's wrong with breakfast all day? Oh, Mama Justin said the fans are losing, so we might as well laugh. I know, right? To keep from crying, okay? My time here is limited, you guys. I'm already packing my bags for Costa Rica because it's not looking good. Okay, Michael M said bacon and eggs, sunny side up, hold the cheese. What the hell's going on here? Everybody's putting in orders. Oh my God. Okay, let me get to the next. Sheila said, I'm going for a snack. I'm hungry. Miss Brian said, y'all are terrible. I keep telling you all. For anybody that's new here, listen, I keep warning people, we have the worst and the most nefarious chat on ScrewTube, bar none. Okay, these people are nefarious. AJ says, I like a good omelet juice. That's with people. AJ says, we having a potluck, queen. Oh my goodness. Let me get this next one out. Okay, y'all are terrible. Oh my goodness, I absolutely cannot. Christopher said the best chat on the internet. Okay. Oh my Lord. Okay, so here's the next update. Prosecutors focus on Combs' control over Ventura to support the trafficking charges. This is what a legal expert says. Now, they say prosecutors are continuing to focus on Sean Diddy Combs' control over Cassie Ventura as they aim to solidify trafficking charges against him. This is what Mercedes Caldwin, legal analyst and trial attorney, said to CNN. She says it all goes back to the trafficking. And we already heard from Cassie Ventura that she was a recording artist that had signed a contract with Combs and then ultimately became an S worker. And that means when you look at those charges of trafficking, it's force, coercion, and violence. That's why talking about the violence and the level of control continues to solidify those specific charges against him. Now, when Ventura signed a 10-album contract with Combs' label, Bad Boy Records, at the beginning of her career, and testified that the music mogul had control over various aspects of her life. I'm sorry, but it's still not giving trafficking for me. Wait a second. What the hell's going on here? Are they serious? It says the jury has been dismissed for the day. It's only 3 o'clock. What's going on? The jury has been dismissed for the day. David James will continue testifying tomorrow. Why is it over so quick? It's only 3 o'clock. I have questions. And damn, it must have been really juicy. It must have been really juicy, you guys, because the inner city press has still not posted anything. It doesn't look like they posted anything in 3 hours. What in the world? Okay, here he comes with some updates. Hold on. What does he say? He says, David James, Mr. Combs said, Kim is my queen out in LA with my family. He said, I have Cassie right where I want her. She's young and moldable. AUSA says, Your Honor, how much longer do you want to go? This would be a good place to break. And break they did, because I think that's it for today. All right. Well, y'all heard that. Queen Shay said, Queen Shakur, are you visiting New York City? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, I sure will be. I sure will be. So Lindell says, this was a blunder for the prosecution today. There's no question about it. I have to agree. I have to agree. Okay, Mama Joycelyn said maybe the assistant has a lot to say. I mean, he did ask how much time they had, didn't he? So that could be the case. Dream Child said it does not justify this case because Cassie testified, stated that we fought each other. Well, here's the thing. They're saying that Cassie was an S worker. Now, once in the chat, if you believe that she was an S worker, I'm not seeing where they're getting this from. To me, they're reaching. Cassie was an S worker. How's that? Okay, how is that? Gravedigger said they got tired of breakfast. How is Cassie an S worker? I don't get that part at all. Okay, I'm gonna need them to explain that so that it makes sense, because I'm not getting that she was an S worker. And when Cassie said that on the stand the other day, I thought that sounded crazy then. All right. Okay, that's right. Dr. Doom said, who was paying to smash Cassie? Well, that's the same thing I said. I said that a week ago, before they literally called her an S worker. I'm not seeing it. I'm gonna have to agree with that man that was on Piers Morgan. Christopher said a lot of what Cassie did was consensual. I believe so. I want them to play those videos in court so everybody can see, and then they can write about it and let us know, because I'm anxious to know about that. I Am Too Gummy says that's not S trafficking between he didn't force anyone against her will. I mean, listen, this just, I don't know what's going on here. This is not sounding like S trafficking to me. It sounded like a whole lot of threats and intimidation and domestic violence. Okay. I Am Too Gummy said the jury's tired of the bull crap. You know, I wonder what the jury is saying. I'm going to come back later. Listen, you guys, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. I want to thank you all for your participation and your patience. Okay. I'm going to come back later on today. It is 3 o'clock. So give me till about maybe 7:30 to come back. And we're going to talk about this, because I want to know, you know, I'm going to see what my friend has to say about all of this. I really want to ask him, what were the reactions on the jurors' faces when Dawn Richard's testimony was going on, when Kerry's testimony was going on? Kerry did an excellent job, by the way. Shout out to her again. Okay, she did actually help the feds. Okay, because Dawn just caused more reasonable doubt, in my opinion. This person, David James, he's going to be back on the stand in the morning. So we'll be back in the morning to see what's going on. All right. So anyway, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoyed this. And I will be back, like I said, at around 7:30, maybe even before then. I'm going to try to come back at about 6. I mean, the sooner the better. Okay. So we can get all this aired out and find out what's really going on. Let me see here. 7:30. Let me check something real quick. I think my Zumba class today starts at, what time does my class start? I think my Zumba class might start at 6. It's going to last about an hour. I'll probably come back at about 8. Hold on. Let me just check and see if my class is today. Hold on. Hold on, beloveds, because I didn't get my morning workout in today. I got it in yesterday, but today I might have to go to that Zumba class. Let me see something here. Okay, so I'll tell you all what. Nevertheless, I'll be back. So you all check the channel. I will be back at about 6 o'clock. Okay. With that all being said, oh, you know what? It's 3:20. Yeah, I can go get my workout in now. So I'm going to go to the gym, honey. I'll be back at about 6:30 or 7. Y'all tune in. All right. Y'all tune back in then. Love y'all to life. I'm out of here. Okay. Let me go get my workout in real quick. All right. And with that all being said, I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Okay? And I will see you all again soon. Till next time, peace.
Hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me?